Hello, and this video we're going to be taking a look at Reve, a legendary grade DPS class Elune. Starting off, looking at her base stats at 6-star level 60, she has a nice basically 25k HP, 5.8k attack, which is high, and relatively decent physical and magic defense at 2.9 and 3k. Her speed at 107 puts her at a decent range in the mid side, and her crit being at 84 does allow her to crit more often. Being a DPS, that is helpful. As we increase her grade up through max transcendence, she goes up to a nice, say, 45k HP with a 10.4k attack and 5.3 to 5.4k PDEF and MDEF when finished. Moving on to her skills, her skill 1 is a magic damage multi-hit skill, dealing 140 plus 110% attack as magic damage on the skill. As the skill increases and goes up to the max, it goes up to 1120 at 158% of her attack as magic damage. Moving to her special skill, this skill is a multi-hitting AoE that does damage to all, starting at 120 plus 85% of attack as magic damage to all targets. As the skill is leveled up and maxed out, it goes up to a nice 860 plus 133% of her attack as an AoE, again doing magic damage. The ultimate skill that she has is a nice skill that does 190 plus 140% of attack as magic damage to all enemies. This attack will always land as a crit on any enemy that has Blaze on them, making her a good partner with Balder. As this skill is leveled up and maxed out, it goes up to 1180 plus 199% of her attack as magic damage to all enemies, again always guaranteeing a crit to anything that's afflicted with Blaze. Moving to her passive number 1, anytime she deals damage with any of her skills, it will inflict a nature effect that causes Blaze for 3 turns, and then causes an explosion that deals 20% of her attack as magic damage to all enemies when attacking enemies afflicted with Blaze. So anytime that she attacks an enemy that already has Blaze on them, it will do an additional 20% of her attack as magic damage at the end of her attack. Going to the passive 2, this one increases all damage by 5% for every enemy afflicted with Blaze on the battlefield, meaning that if you're fighting 5 enemies, this goes up to and they all have Blaze, she gets 25% increased damage to everything that she does, and increases the damage. This is a nice little buff, and again helps as she applies Blaze every turn with her first passive. Her third passive, this one, is when an enemy afflicted with Blaze dies, she increases her attack by 30% for 2 turns and gains 1 soul for each dead enemy. So each time an enemy dies, she gives 1 soul to your team, and she increases her attack by 30% for 2 turns. This can help you cycle souls, especially when clearing PvE situations, as you'll be able to clear the mobs very quickly and gain souls for your team also very quickly, allowing her to use her special and ultimate skills more often so that she can cycle them to keep running the instances quickly. She works very well with Balder as they both apply Blaze and both benefit from the Blaze effects. She benefits in different ways with her skills and applies them on every turn with every attack. Balder does the same thing. He benefits from the Blaze effects being on the enemies and also applies them with every attack or any time he is attacked. They work very well together and also provide a nice synergy as one does physical damage and one does magic damage. This means that either case of whatever you're attacking, be in high and magical or physical defense, they will always be hit rather significantly hard by the other one. Moving over to her skill gem effects, on her skill 1, it is a 5% chance of reducing target's magic defense by 10% for 2 turns. It is a very low chance, so going with additional blue gems for the magic damage or additional orange gems for the crit would be a very viable option here and could help more than the 5% chance at a magic defense reduction, as the defense reduction is pretty insignificant at 10% and only a 5% chance. Going with more damage with blue would be a good alternative, or for the higher crit rate if you so choose. Her special skill is also the same thing. It's very similar to Baldur's, giving a 5% chance to blaze the target for 3 turns. This again can be chosen to ignore that and go for a straight up magic damage by applying 3 blue runes, or if you want the crit rate you can go ahead and go all orange. Either way are both good alternatives, as the bonus doesn't give you much from it. On her ultimate skill, the skill gem effect is blue for damage and then 2 orange for crit rates. This skill does not necessarily need the increase in crit rate, as anything that you hit that has a blaze effect on it will be crit anyway. So the orange gems on here are pretty useless if you're going to be attacking anything with blaze, which should be the only time that you're using this skill, is if the enemy or multiple of the enemies have blaze already and you want to kill them by doing significant damage. In this case, going with full 3 sets of blue gems would be a good option, as the 10% chance of resetting the cooldown is pretty low and not that significant, and doing the increased damage would be more helpful than 2 orange gems, which will most likely not help you at all since you'll be critting anyway guaranteed with the skill. Moving over and looking at her dimension slate, things that you would want to focus on with her is crit power, to make sure that her ultimate skill lands with a significant amount of damage. Her attack, because she deals magic damage, it does do a lot of damage to enemy, so anything that you can increase there would be good. If you're using her alone or without Baldur, then make sure you definitely go with accuracy on her to make sure she's landing all of those blaze effects. The attack speed can help her move quickly and to move first if you want to set up for Baldur, or you can use the Baldur to move first and have her move after him so that she can use her ultimate skill after he AoEs to apply the blaze to everybody, allowing her to do a lot of damage. Meaning again, you will need a lot of crit power to increase the damage as well as attack to ensure that she's hitting very hard. The physical and magic defense substats aren't needed as much, neither are the evasion. Her HP is a decent amount, and most of that should help just by getting her up through Transcendence, and also anything here that you can get for HP. It should not be a focus though, as you'd want to focus more on crit power and attack with her with some whatever accuracy you can get. Gear choices for her are similar to Baldur. Going with the full moon set will allow her to have a higher chance of deflecting debuffs. If you don't have the accuracy to do it, it does help her land those chances. Going with the violent set on this one, which is a newer set, will allow her to get more turns to apply her blazes to multiple enemies or to use her AoEs in quick succession. Other sets that you could go with, or any skill or any of the sets that apply additional speed or chance to move again, such as the Great Spirit set. The Baron Jace set can be useful as it does increase her crit damage, but you can also use regular sets like the DPS set from the later on the level 80 set. That would be good, as it does allow her to have a high amount of attack. You do not need to focus too much on the sets for damage mitigation, as she is not a role suited for that, and you should be using your supports and healers to keep her alive, as she is going to be one of your primary DPS, especially for magic. She does hit very hard, and it is something to use. That's going to be it for this one. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I'll answer them as soon as I can. Thank you.